Hi, it's Martin from Steffi Bull Promotions TV. I'm delighted we have a duo on today. We have Ryan Rhodes. So all you boxing fans out there know Ryan Rhodes as well. Partners with Steffi Bull on the shows in Doncaster, Barnsley, and we've also got James Metcalfe. JJ Metcalfe, I have to say, as it is on boxing.
J.A. Metcalfe.
J.A. Metcalfe, as it is on boxing.
Yeah, there's that many Metcalfes about.
To be fair, you wouldn't think the name Metcalfe is such a popular name in the boxing industry, but it actually is. First of all, James, 2020 was it was beginning of 2020 was when you was last out. Cracking performance in Barnsley. That's correct, isn't it?
The 2019 end of 2019 it were, and I was supposed to be fighting in March 23rd, and unfortunately it was the week before lockdown, and it didn't go through. So I'm very disappointed about that. Yeah, well, it
is what it is, isn't it? But sorry, it was on the Lee Appleyard Benfield's fight, wasn't it? When you fought. As I was saying to Ryan earlier, very, very, very impressed. I think you're very tasty. And looking at some of the sparring you've been doing lately, as I was speaking to Ryan, you're sparring some real top guys. So it's got to be good for you that you've got someone to the side of you like Ryan leading you the way. But Ryan can't fight for you in the ring, and some of the sparring you're getting involved in, it's impressive. Talk us through it.
Well, obviously the sparring I've had with these people, they've been tough rounds, and if it weren't for Ryan giving me the advice and the feedback, I wouldn't be improving as much as I am. But it's really helpful that he's there in my corner, and telling me them fine adjustments that I need to know to get better in the next sparring, to learn more. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll take it back to that night when you made your debut. I remember after we had a chat on camera, me, you, and Ryan, and Ryan was saying at the time, this boy's you're really, 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 you're tall, you're powerful. And Ryan was saying, like, you're really good at the weight. It's given you 2020 really to sit back, have a look in boxing itself, and like you said, learn on the areas that you need to improve on. But the one impressive thing, James, is that you keep him fit, because there are, sadly, and I know it's bad times, but there are some boxers that have kind of just put their head in their hands and kind of just thought, you know what, it ain't happening. But with you getting in the ring with people like you are, if you just want to name some of the people that you've been sparring.
Yeah, there's Lerrone Richards and I can't remember the other bloke.
Christian Teke. You sparred a few weeks ago, Callum Beardo.
Yeah, Callum Beardo. He's an excellent boxer.
There's a kid who's just signed. There's a kid who's just signed for MTK, the Asian guy who came down to our gym. So you're having a mixture, and the quality of the spars has just been second to none. These kind of spars, you can't buy the experience what James is getting. And with James being such a, he's a baby, 19 years old. He's
20.
just. Oh, you turned 20 now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're growing up now. Sorry, 20-year-old. He's just taking it all in. And like you've just said, Martin, under the circumstances, it's so easy for fighters just to lose focus, lose concentration on the boxing, because we all know boxing's such a hard game. And James he's sticking in the gym, he's keeping in the gym, he's trying to keep somewhat focused on potential, maybe getting that phone call of or when we're going to be able to get crowds back into the arenas for us to do. Myself and Steffi do a couple of shows again, and that's what that's what we're aiming for, and that's what we're keeping our mindset focused on. Just hoping and praying that it's not going to be too long away that James is going to be fighting again.
It's like you said. The fact is, sparring these guys you're sparring guys that are in training for some big fights, and you've only got. I always say there's two people you look at last year. Not saying that this is going to happen, but you look at Max Hughes, who was another one, great boxer, but he was. If you spoke to Maxie, not last year, the year before, he was fit. He was down. You could. He didn't want to box, but he just couldn't see what was coming. And look, he's just got MTK Fighter of the Year. And then if you look at Ryland Charlton, he won big fight with Eddie Hearn, and now he's Eddie Hearn's. Now he's on Eddie Hearn's. Because you're staying fit, because you're sparring the likes of Lerrone Richards, the likes of Dave Caldwell, the likes of Ryan Rhodes, they can see what you're doing. That call can happen. It really can happen. And you've got I think the one thing that would kill you is the fact that if that call did happen and you wasn't ready, or Steffi had a show come up and you wasn't ready, I think you'd kick yourself. And at this time, this is the time when things happen in boxing that probably shouldn't happen. Like Ryan said, you're a baby, but people are being offered opportunities at the moment that when Ryan was about probably wouldn't have happened. You'd have probably had to have had 19, 20 fights before you even got
that opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I'm waiting for maybe for that phone call. You know, if someone's pulled out of a fight and I can take that place, and you know, if that happens, I'll be ready. I'm fit. I'm doing 10 rounds sparring, and I mean sparring fitness and gym fitness are completely different, and I'm near enough there in terms of fitness. I just need to get my weight down.
If James got that phone call, what we would need is 3, maximum 4 weeks, and that would only be a few more sparring sessions. His fitness is there, the sharpness is there, his ability is there. It's just another couple of weeks of just sharpening up, maybe getting a phone call about a certain fighter that we can obviously change James's, look at his opponent's style and see what James needs to do to be effective in that fight, getting that phone call. Listen, I've seen fighters on the Matchroom show and on Frank Warren's show what are signed to them guys, what have had 5, 6, 7 fights, and I would put James in with them fights tomorrow. Honestly, I would put James in them fights tomorrow. When there's been a show at the weekend, and I've messaged James and to see if he's watching the boxing, see if it's Eddie Hearn's show or Frank Warren's show or even an MTK show. On the Monday, we've been in that gym and we've been talking about a certain fight, and I've said, James, honestly, I would put you in that fight with them tomorrow. I'm that confident in James' ability. Like I say, he's such a. I don't want to sound thing, but James he's like a sponge. He really does absorb what I'm telling him, and I can see him, what I'm speaking to him outside the ring. When he's in that ring sparring, I can see him trying the exact same things what we've just been talking about outside the rings, and it's such humbling that he is listening to what I'm saying. And I really, really do think that James is going to have a bright future in boxing. I really do. And I just think he needs that opportunity for one of the big promoters to see his ability and to see what James is doing.
Well, another fighter, to be honest, Ryan, a lad from Stoke, Jamie Stewart. Absolutely, no one had ever heard of him. Fought Florian Marcoux. So that's another proof in the pudding, James. It can happen.
Yeah.
What do you class yourself as? Do you class yourself as a shy lad? Do you class yourself as outgoing?
Be honest.
What in terms?
Come on.
Go on.
No, you be honest. Be honest. Come on.
What in terms of how I am in the boxing ring or
just
outside?
How you are as a person? Because sometimes in boxing, you have. I don't know if Ryan will agree with me, but sometimes you've got to have that charisma. You've got to have that. You've got to. You can be excellent in the ring, but that'll only take you so far. That'll only take you till somebody's got to see you to think, you know what, he is good. But if you're
or even hear you,
that can get you
Yeah.
an opportunity. Has that ever been told? Have you ever been told that you've? Do you see
Well,
what
I'm still working on my public figure kind of stance, because at the moment I feel a bit shy, but I know what I'm talking about. But like my social medias, they're not exactly full of myself. Maybe they should be, but I'm not the type of person who, shows what I'm doing every hour of every day. I'm not showing everything. I'm more to myself kind of person. And obviously, I mean, people like that don't really go that far in some areas. Like, you gotta use your attitude to get you somewhere. Like Floyd Mayweather, and they just talk and talk, and that's how you get where some places, and you just gotta have the character to get you there as well. Yeah.
I think with James, he is a little bit shy. He is a little bit, standoffish. But I've got to know him now, so I know there is that bit of charisma about him. I agree with what you're saying. I just need him to show it a little bit more. But when he's in that ring, he's a complete animal in that ring. He doesn't, as soon as, if he gets caught, he wants to take your head off, or, if he's willing to learn in that ring. So we have just got to bring him a little bit more out of himself outside the ring, on social media. We have been talking, it's funny, we've been talking about this over the last few days, haven't we, James?
Yeah.
About the conversation when we do speak and everything like that. So he is a work in progress. Like I say, he's just turned 20 years old. He's a work in progress, and he's going to be, it's all going to come together at the right time.
Because not going to lie, like I remember you mentioning him in 2019, last year. I'd looked a bit, but what got me was when I seen you sparring with Lerrone Richards. Now, Lerrone Richards, he's just come over from Frank Warren. He's signed for Eddie Earn, Dave Colwell. Richards is on a path. Richards is on a path where he's getting better and better. So his sparring partners, they're going to be getting better and better. He's not going to take sparring partners where he's just going to walk all over him. So for you even to be in the ring, that's got to give you confidence. That's got to give you the fact to go on social media. 20 years of age, I'm sparring with Lerrone Richards. I'm waiting for that opportunity. I'm with Ryan Rhodes. Come on, promoters, where are you?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, what kind of fighter would you say? Would you say, like, what fighter do you look up to?
Well, my dad really likes,
Ryan.
the Fantastic Four in the middleweight division in the 80s, and obviously his favourite two are Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, and he likes to put me in between them. I'm a switch hitter, and I'm more of a rangy. Well, kind of rangy, but I can do everything. Well, I feel like I can do a lot of things, but I really like Marvin Hagler. I really like to go off his kind of way of boxing. I mean, when he fights, if he hits you with one, he'll switch and he'll turn you on to his strongest lead again and knock you out. And, I'm wanting to perfect my style to be more a bit like that. But
when you get in the ring, you just want to knock someone out?
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah.
Well, what he doesn't want to do, he don't want to get hit. I mean, he's got great movement. It can pressure you. Like you've just been saying about Lerrone Richardson. Obviously, he's fighting for the European title next. That's his next fight, the European title. So, and by all accounts, the opponent who he's fighting is a come forward, aggressive fighter. Now, when I told Dave what James's style was like, and I told him that he's basically a middleweight, I went, but he's a big middleweight. So Dave's words was, well, bring him down. Let's just have a look. Let's see what he's like. Then that night, I got a telephone call from Dave saying, "Brilliant today, Ryan. Really enjoyed it. I think it's some of what we need." We was back down 2 days later. So Lerrone Richardson is obviously a big super middleweight fighting for the European title. James is going to be campaigning at middleweight, and he's a big 6 foot, long, heavy-handed, strong. He can box. He can come forward. He can switch hit. He can counter punch. Got great head movement, and that's why we're going to be back down at Dave Colwell's gym next week again, sparring.
I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing this journey. James, I really am. I'm looking forward to seeing. I hope you get the call. I really do, because times like this, and you got Ryan by your side, which helps massively. Anything you got to say to any of your fans or your sponsors out there?
Well, to my fans, I want them to stick by my side, because they all know what I'm capable of, and it's not shown. I've not shown it yet, what I'm capable of. My debut, it were breeze through the park, but I know I can do a lot better than that, and I don't think I've got any sponsors. Not gonna lie.
But if
there's any sponsors out there,
that's it,
if there's any sponsors out there, just give me a text. We can sort something out, and I'll be by your side, and I hope you be by my side all the way through. I won't disappoint. And
Ryan, what you got? Anything last to say?
No, listen, he's one for the future. He's definitely one to watch. He comes and trains in the morning. He goes to work. He works at an haulage company, helping clean the yard up and making sure the yard's tidy. And then he's back in the gym later on in the evening. So he's a credit. I think he's got a big future in boxing. And honestly, if you've any of the big promoters out there, if you've got any middleweights that think they want to test James, if you've had 5 or 6 fights, we're willing to put it out there and put it on the line, because I've got a lot of confidence, and I think James has got a lot of ability.
And also a shout out to potential sparring partners as well.
Definitely willing to learn. We're always willing to learn. We're willing to travel, and that's what James is about. It's him what's asking me, can we spar this guy? Can we spar that guy? And I'm trying to put the reins on James a bit, but he just wants to go and go and go.
Guys, absolute pleasure speaking to you. James, this won't be the last time we speak, buddy. Ryan, enjoy your flat pack with IKEA. We get to see each other in 2021, but James, superb. Steffi Ball Promotions.
Thank you.
Martin, thank you.
Take care. Go and have your food now, James.